There's a few staples of custom automotive sheet metal work. Big one that everybody knows is bead rolling. Everybody wants some custom bead roll work on their custom car, especially like anything from the 50s back. Another one of the big things is dimple dies. Now, a dimple die hole is basically when you drill a hole and then you flare it. I'll go ahead and show you now. All right, this is the dimple dyed hole. Drill that hole and it's flared. You can see, looks like a crater. You see it a lot on like 30s model hot rods and stuff like that. It requires a set of tools that dies. There's one that goes on each side, like a clamshell kind of thing, and it presses it in. Dimple dies are very, very expensive. Like very expensive. They're like hardened steel and they're machined, but they don't have to be. It turns out that plastic dimple dies you can make with a 3D printer for just a few cents actually work just fine for most sheet metal stuff. Now you're not going to be doing any thick plate with this because people do dimple die like 1/8 inch sheet metal and 3/16 and stuff with a hydraulic press, but I don't have a hydraulic press yet. I will eventually in here. And then I might invest in some metal dimple dies. But for now, for the projects I'm doing, working on kind of low caliber custom vehicles and projects, these 3D printed dimple dies will work just fine. So on Maker World, I just searched for dimple dies and there's a handful that pop up, but we're going to use this guy's right here. I've already printed out a couple of his, and we also need 1.5 inch dimple die. So I'm going to click it and open in Bamboo Studio, and here are our dimple dies, or both sides of the dimple die set. There's like a lot of debate online on what the strongest way to 3D print something is, like the infill. And I'm telling you, for these, because you're pressing them together, you're going to want 100% infill, because any open space inside your 3D print is just going to crush whenever you're squeezing it with a vise or pressing it with a press or whatever. So 100% infill every time for dimple dies. I'm not going to be dimple dyeing anything on this truck or any of the cars or anything today. I am actually worried about this chair. This is the 50s dining room table chair. I got it with a set of 3. The other 2 are in the office in there. But this one didn't have a back on it. All the vinyl was ripped off and it looks really sad. So we're going to make a sheet metal back for this, and we'll put a dimple die design on it. All right, I went in and removed the back of the chair. I got it all cleaned up, pulled out a bunch of staples and stuff. I'll measure it out so we can cut a piece of sheet metal. This has a curve in it, so I'm gonna make it a little long. I could make a template, but whatever. So 16 by 12 1/4. Now I'm just going to lay out some guidelines so I can mark out my holes. And then we will lay out some circles here. I'm not going to get too precise with this since this is just a chair that I'm making for the shop. I'm like really eyeballing a lot of this. Just kind of winging it. Let's see. Let's make sure everything looks okay. I feel like something's not quite right, but I'm just gonna go with it, I think. It'll be all right. Center punch every hole. Cut all my holes with the hole saws on the drill press, and now I'm going to deburr them with this little deburr tool. These ones suck. They're made out of plastic. Don't get plastic ones. You can get them on Amazon, the aluminum ones. I got to replace these. They keep breaking. But you want to deburr the inside edges of all these so it doesn't tear up the plastic. And obviously so you don't catch your finger on it and tear up your hands. You want to do both sides. Make sure all of our dies actually fit into our holes. They do, or if that one does anyways. Our little one, yeah. We're gonna be good. And a big one. Make sure the big one works. Big one works. Now there's two ways you're gonna do this with these plastic dimple dies, at least the ones that I 3D printed off Maker World. This big one doesn't have a hole in the middle, so you have to squeeze it with a press, or in my case, I'm gonna use this vise right here. But the other ones have this hole in the middle, and you can put a big washer and a bolt and just tighten down the bolt and it will do it. We're gonna do it both ways probably on this because of the positioning of these holes. So far, from what I can tell, these things hold up just fine. And I've used this one already several times. It is 100% infill. Oh, and make sure you got your flare going the right way. We want the flare going that way. Okay, so I didn't even think this out beforehand, but the vise can't get a good grip on that. So we're gonna do something else. Boom. We have some dimple dyed holes. And that's why it's important for them to be 100% infill. All right, if you use the bolts, you need to make sure that you got some big washers on both sides, because otherwise it'll just pull right through the center. Something like this. Screw down a nut. I guess we could just hit it with the mallet and it would work the same way. But I'll show you guys this way. Wrench on the back side. when it gets really tight, that's when it's just about done. All right, so here we are. We got our two 2-inch ones that we hammered with a hammer. The dimple die is absolutely just fine. It did not get a little marked up on the bottom from the concrete, but it is not even remotely close to being broken. We can hammer on this a ton more. Whoa, this one, we did the bolts, but honestly, this one's pretty heavy duty too. I think we could hammer on this one. Now, this little guy, for the outside ones, I do not think it'll handle too much hammering because it's so small. It is solid, obviously, 100% infill, just like I said, but yeah, I don't think I want to risk trying to hammer this. I might try it afterwards on a separate sheet of metal, different test sheet, but not on this since we're going to actually use this. All right, so got all the dimple dies done on the back of the chair. If you're watching this video to figure out if 3D printed dimple dies will actually last, I was whammying on this one with a hammer, and it could still do a zillion more dimple dies, no problem. This is 16 gauge. This is like the thickest sheet metal you're going to be dimple dyeing anyways before you get up to 1/8 inch plate. Yeah, and you can get any size of those on Maker World and Thingiverse, and like there's other places, other sites where you can download the files for that. All right, well now I'm going to finish up the back of this chair. I'm probably going to drill some holes in this, maybe 6, center it up, attach it, then trim off the outside edges, and call it done. Actually, you know what? Nah, I'll just mark it out. I was gonna say I can probably cut it in place, but. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna put a screw in each corner, and then I'm gonna put screws in between each one, mostly just for decoration, but I think it'll hold it down pretty good. And I think I might take out this piece of wood because I don't like the way it looks. This doesn't bother me too much. Or I might spray a little black paint in there. I don't know. I know this metal is going to hold all this wood together just fine. I might just trim it away so you can't see any of the wood. All right, well, that's it. The whole point of the video is me to show you that these 3D printed dimple dies work really well and they hold up to the abuse, at least for sheet metal stuff. That whole panel on that chair was 16 gauge, so it's like as thick as sheet metal as you can get before you get into 1/8 inch plate. And it works just fine. And I was hammering on this one with a wooden mallet, and now that I look back, I think that the rubber mallet would have probably been actually a better choice. But there's not even a crack or anything. Like, this big 2-inch one is really heavy anyways. It's really heavy duty, so I think it's gonna last regardless. These would work way better with a hydraulic press, or even just like a handheld arbor press, which is something I would like to get. A handheld arbor press. I mean a benchtop arbor press. The bolt through ones work just fine. Work really good. They're a little bit slower though, because you got to have a wrench and a ratchet, and maybe if you hit it with an impact, it would be a lot faster. But then you risk damaging these plastic things. But these are way cheaper. I don't know. I probably got like $1 in these 3D printed Dimple dies instead of hundreds of dollars, which is what stuff like this costs if you buy real ones. Now you can't do anything big. You can't do 1/8 inch plate, or I guess you could try, but I doubt that this is going to do 1/8 inch plate. It's probably going to tear up the dies. But for sheet metal, like I did today on the back of that chair, or over the past 2 days on the back of that chair, they work really good. So that's it. My name's Buddy. This was the shop next door, and I'll see you next time.